I'm still checking Wells Fargo stock, and now it's down about 1.25%, accelerating the losses going into the closing bell. This after news broke earlier regarding the Labor Department's, this is a new investigation into Wells Fargo's 401k practices of pushing some clients, allegedly, from low-cost funds into higher-cost individual retirement accounts. We wanted to bring in somebody by the name of Bruce Marks. He is a Wells Fargo shareholder and the CEO of the nonprofit mortgage watchdog called Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. He was, last year, physically removed from a Wells Fargo shareholder meeting when he questioned the board about the first scandal that broke in 2016, the millions of phony accounts that were set up without clients knowing. Bruce joins us on the phone. Bruce, are you there?
Yes, I am, Liz. How you doing?
Well, I'm well, but I looked at this and I said, I can't believe this is yet another situation for Wells Fargo. You as a shareholder, when you woke up this morning and saw the Wall Street Journal piece that said that a whistleblower, a new one, has brought the Labor Department's attention to this situation, what was your first thought?
They're in trouble. They're in trouble because, they haven't learned. We keep saying, you got to make a negative into a positive. I was dragged out of the stockholders meeting a year ago because I wanted to say that the board of directors have to be held accountable. They changed the board of directors, but they still don't get it. They have to be consumer friendly. And the fact is, if they're serious, they have to make it where they're the fiduciary. So that means that on the 401ks, that they have to do the right thing for their clients, and they're legally held accountable to that. And, if I was Wells Fargo, I'd be really nervous because this is the Trump administration who gives a pass to a lot of corporations for their predatory practices. They give a pass when CFPB wants to do things, and now they're not doing it. But the Trump administration has this bullseye on Wells Fargo and says, we're going to hold this bank accountable. And Wells Fargo has got to wake up and say, we've got to stop this predatory practices, these false bank accounts, these false accounts, these mortgage scams, these car loan scams, and we got to switch the mindset because the reputational risk you can't change on that piece.
A good name, name is hard
once the reputation changes, and I know it gets into the weeds, but Wells Fargo used to 20 years ago have a stellar reputation. If you thought of that Stagecoach, you'd say, this is the place I want to park my money. This is where I want to go. Well, they're destroying it. That Stagecoach is being burned to the crisp, and they've got to change that, and they got to rewrite.
But why? But Bruce, let me jump in.
Who they are.
Last week, they were slapped with $1 billion fine for misuse and misbehavior when it came to auto loans for their customers and for mortgage funny business. And President Trump, you are absolutely right. He came out with this tweet. I will cut regulations, but I will make penalties severe when caught cheating. So you're right on that point. But it is the shareholders who voted back in many of the original board members and who just recently approved the CEO, Tim Sloan's pay package that was a 35% increase. Are you comfortable? Were you comfortable with that?
No one is, and no one is comfortable. We're not, no one is on that stuff. And, he could get that pay package, but if he doesn't change, he's not going to have a job. Because, it's one thing that you can say about, Donald Trump, and that once, he grabs onto something, he is relentless on that piece. And, it's just the contrast with what he's letting go on some things. And he has his eyes set on Wells Fargo, and the stockholders and the company are going to pay their price on that. And it's inconceivable that they don't get this message. But, he said they've got to just completely change the mindset within that company. And the first thing that I'd say to Wells Fargo and to Tim Sloan is, you should be a fiduciary. You should be legally held accountable for doing the right thing for your customers.
Gotcha.
Because, and remember, the Federal Reserve says you can't grow. You can't grow. And if they can't grow, they die.
Bruce
and
Marks,
that's what's going to happen.
We must end it there.
Tim Sloan and the board of directors saying Wells Fargo is going to shrivel up and die unless they change to be consumer-oriented, Use their $20 billion they make a year.
Okay. Bruce, we got to run because we
right
actually are coming up on a commercial break. But we want to thank Bruce Marks, who is a Wells Fargo shareholder who had bitterly opposed what was going on last year in one of the shareholder meetings and was removed from that shareholder meeting.